Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Accepted Students Parents Forum. I'm Chris McDermott, Director of Enrollment Enhancements, and I couldn't be happier that you're joining us this evening. Our informal panel discussion is designed to clarify any unanswered or lingering questions that you might have concerning coming to campus next month. So we have a great panel tonight for you, and I will introduce you to them as we get to their sections. The panelists will share their expertise in the following areas: general campus updates and student affairs, health and wellness, residence life, safety and security, campus activities, and dining services. And we will have a question and answer session at the end of the presentation. But before we get started, just a few things I wanted to review. I would ask each of you to sign in, if it's a parent, using your son or daughter's name, their high school, year of graduation. If I have transfer students out there, hopefully we do, please sign in with your name and the college that you previously attended. Tonight's session is being recorded, so this way, if you need to go back, if you missed anything, you'll be able to do that. Since we are recording this, I'm going to respectfully ask each of you to mute your microphone so there's no noise or interference in the background. As I mentioned, we will have a question and answer session at the end of the program, but given tonight's tremendous turnout, we're going to ask you that you send all questions in the chat room, and this way we can answer those as we move along later on in the session. So without further ado, we'll get started with our first panelist, Chris Sheffield, Associate VP for Student Life and Institutional Effectiveness, and Jason Jakubowski, our Dean of Students. So take it away, Chris and Jason.
Well, thank you, Chris, and welcome. Good evening. We're so glad to have our students and parents here this evening. We all hope that you enjoyed the summer orientation program over the last 2 weeks. Had an opportunity to engage with our fantastic orientation leaders, learn more about their experiences as students on our campus and what they can expect from a tremendous Niagara University education and experience. You know, in student affairs, you've probably heard a lot about what we do over the past year or more as you've made a decision to attend Niagara. But certainly over the last several months, we've really been focused on what it is that's core to our work, which is giving students a fun, impactful, educational developmental experience that is safe. And certainly safety has been on the top of our mind, and we know it's also on the top of your mind as parents who are sending students, in many cases, away to college for the first time. And so it's something we want to make sure that we cover this evening in terms of the questions, concerns that you may have. Because, you know, the university has spent many months now developing and implementing detailed plans for how we're going to create the environment on campus where your students can have a successful, fun experience while putting a premium on safety as well. And that's certainly what we do best in student affairs and in collaboration with our partners in campus safety and in MET's culinary management, our food service provider on campus. And we're certainly looking forward to welcoming you back to our campus next month, and are certainly prepared to do that so that you can begin your college career with us. Certainly critical to student success is a member of the Student Affairs Program Department who's focused most directly on supporting students and helping them to find success both in and out of the classroom. And so I would like to welcome and ask Jason Jakubowski, our Dean of Students, to share some thoughts on the role of the Dean of Students and what you can expect in terms of Jason's role as Dean for supporting student success.
Thank you, Chris, and welcome everyone. It's an honor and certainly a privilege to be here with you this evening. And you know, I've been Dean of Students now for about 5 years. I've been at Niagara University for 7 years, and we get this question often about, you know, what is it that happens in student affairs? And Jason, as Dean of Students, what do you do, right? And there's really 4 areas of focus that we tune into in working with our students and with our families. And the first is we are committed to student satisfaction. right? And I work with a wonderful team of colleagues. Ms. Kim Fenton's on this call, Ms. Maddie Ortiz is on this call from Campus Activities and Residence Life, respectively. And this team here is really committed to providing a wonderful, overall, engaging student experience for them, for our students. Engagement in this context, we hear that word quite a bit, is really deep and meaningful to our directors. And when we talk about engagement of our students, we're not just talking about a simple program. We're talking about the combination of education, dialogue, and active participation across all of our programs, with the hope and the goal in mind that we help our students through a transition period, right? This is their first time away from home in many cases, right? College is a new experience. So we take that word engagement and we apply it through everything that we do, with our departments, with our colleagues, with the hope of having a wonderful overall student experience with high satisfaction. The second area of focus that we tune into is the overall well-being of our students. We have many, many conversations with students at an individual level, right? And the conversation could be about anything. We have students dropping by our office, asking questions about maybe challenges on campus or challenges in a classroom or just questions about the campus environment. And we're happy to have those conversations with our students. But also, I think it's important for our families to know that we have a team on campus. It's called our Students of Concern team. This is made up of colleagues from across campus, and we gather information. If a student is maybe struggling in a class or having a challenge on campus, right? Information comes to us from our faculty, from fellow staff members, and we take that information and we come up with a solution or a resolution for that issue that the student may be experiencing. Maybe it's in the classroom, maybe it's out of the classroom, but whatever the case is, there's a moment, there's an opportunity for us to get involved with our students, with our parents, to find that resolution so we can keep them on the path towards graduation and, of course, reaching their educational potential. One of the responsibilities, though, that I take very seriously is safety. And one of my colleagues is on a call today. He's on the Zoom, Mr. John Barker, our Director of Campus Safety, and we have a very close working relationship. And safety is achieved a couple of different ways. So we do it through our policies, we do it through our protocols, our practices, and our procedures. We could talk about some of those later. But part of my role here is really interpreting those policies so students really understand what the expectations are and what the expectations should be of our students of the university through those same policies and procedures. We also have the Dean of Students On-Call program to support student safety. Myself, Ms. Kim Fenton, Mr. Corey Boone, our Assistant Director of Residence Life, we are on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to address any concern that may arise. Maybe a student gets injured playing an intramural sport, or maybe they get sick, right? Or maybe there's something that happens after hours. We will work with you, we will call you, we'll partner with you to make sure that our student is healthy and they're safe, and we'll keep you informed through whatever the situation may be. And I know if we do those first three really well, that being we focus on student satisfaction, we care for our students and their overall well-being, and we put safety first, then of course that lends itself to greater overall retention. And we keep our students here through graduation. And that's our overall goal. So in a nutshell, it's kind of what the Dean of Students does, right? It's all these things. I know it's broad stroked and there's many, many details within those 3 or 4 areas of focus, but hopefully we'll get into some of those details later. So welcome to Niagara. I can't wait to meet all of you.
Wow, thank you guys. That was a lot of great information. And next up for our panelists will be Adrian Cashbaum, our Director of Student Health and Wellness. So take it away, Adrian.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Very excited for you to come to Niagara. Liking this virtual meeting so we can all get to know each other. My name is Adrian, like she said, and I run the health center on campus as well as the counseling center. The health center, we are a full service doctor's office. We have a nurse practitioner. and 2 registered nurses along with myself as the 3rd registered nurse. And we treat everyone. We can treat bumps and bruises all the way to sickness. We can refer to specialists as needed. We can give out medications that are prescribed by the nurse practitioner. We really take care of your students really from top to bottom with no worries. This year, I know everything's a little different with COVID. We will be implementing telehealth. So we can still provide the same services, just going to be in a little bit of a different format. But we will be on campus every day and telehealth will be available. In the counseling center that's located at the basement of Seton Hall, that we have 4 licensed mental health counselors on staff. They'll begin 2 weeks before the students come. And again, they'll be implementing telecounseling. And they're all fully licensed and registered in New York State. So we're excited. We have a really strong team there as well. I know you're all interested in the COVID planning that we have going on. We've made a lot of strides. We're working really hard to keep our community safe, our Niagara University community safe. We all have to do our part and practice some safe behaviors that I know you've all been used to doing by now after 4 months of this. One of the main things is we will be participating in daily screening, and students and faculty will be required to sign in to a program and do a daily screen. We will have 2 additional RNs running that, and they will be looking at the screening answers every day, reaching out to people who might have indicated that they're having some signs and symptoms or some contact. So we have a whole nother department now. We're calling it a public health department that will be monitoring all of those signs and symptoms as well as monitoring students that will need to be in quarantine or isolation if they should test positive or be in contact. So we really do have all the bases covered. It's going to look a little different this year, but we're really excited to welcome you all back to campus and keep it safe. I also like to shout out to the parents that I'm a parent too, just like you. My daughter just graduated and now I have a sophomore. So all the worries that you have, I have them too. And you can feel confident that we're going to be taking care of your student to the best of our ability.
Thank you, Adrian. I learned a little bit more about what's going on. Thank you very, very much. Next up will be our Director of Residence Life, Kim Fenton. She is always a fountain full of information. So the floor is yours, Kim.
Oh, thank you, Chris. So again, my name is Kim Fenton. I'm the Director of Residence Life here at Niagara. I've been here for 8 years now. I'm going into my 9th academic year, which seems strange, but I've really enjoyed Niagara, and I know that when you get the chance to come back on campus again, that you'll feel that as well, that atmosphere. And that's, I think, one of the first things that I like to share with our new families and new parents as students come in is that the way that we train our staff and the way that we have set up everything about our residence halls is in the spirit of caring for your student. We're going to be the first ones to learn their name when they move in. We're going to be the ones knocking on their door, checking in with them through that first week of class, seeing how things are going, checking in, say, do you know who your advisor is? Can I help you find your classes? All those kinds of things. We have community advisors, is what we call them here on campus, but it's really similar to if you've heard of RAs on other campuses. They're going to live on the floors with your students. We hire them through a very competitive process. So they're upper class students who are highly involved in a whole lot of different clubs and activities and are a diverse span of majors and backgrounds and things like that for our students to make sure that when your student gets here, that they're going to be nervous, they might be homesick. They're doing this for the first time. And so I just want you to know that we've got people living on the floor with them who know what they're going to be going through. And our staff has training and everything in terms of how to help with someone who's homesick, how to help with roommate issues, how to help with if a student has anxiety or depression and things like that. We are kind of the referral agent. So I'm really proud of our staff. We're highly trained, and we bring our RAs back 2 weeks before. We start from scratch every year, and we talk to them about all the different ways that we can be there to help your students. Your son or daughter may have told you they got the big news last week on Thursday. Room assignments were sent out. So what we've done this year, and you've heard this before in the various Zoom calls that we've had so far, we're honoring all requests that students have for single rooms due to COVID. So if your student got information in there that had a roommate, and if that wasn't what they were intending or whatever the case is, or if you've been thinking about it and you say, actually, now that we're getting closer to August, I'd feel better in a single, please just reach out to our office and we can help to make those accommodations for people as well. And then the 3 freshman buildings that we're using this year are Seton Hall, O'Shea Hall, and those are our 2 tower buildings. And then we also have freshmen in Clay Hall this year as well. We have a whole kind of floor wing of freshmen there in singles as well. And one other thing I just wanted to touch on briefly, just to give you a heads up about, I know we'll probably get more into some of the precautions that we're taking this year, but I do want to speak about move-in day. So normally move-in day is really, it's our most exciting day of the year. It's like Christmas for us. But this year, of course, it's going to have to look a little bit different. You know, we can't have people sharing elevators as they come in. We can't have lines and all those kinds of things. So we are going to be doing a socially distant move-in. It's going to take place over about 2 weeks before students come to campus. And so what we're going to do is asking students who are local, within a couple hours radius of campus, who can make a day trip, come up, drop off some stuff. We're going to limit it to, so there's only so many people, maybe 5 or 6 people in the building at a time, so that we don't have lines, so that people can come in and just go straight to their room and not have to interface with others too much. Drop off their stuff, and then you don't need to unpack. You just drop off your stuff, get it up to the room, lock up your room, and then you can go back home until you come back for a new student orientation, which I know my colleagues in campus activities will talk a little bit more about that on August 20th. And for our students who, if they can't make the trip twice, if they want to just do it all in one trip and they move in, we're going to have those students coming closer to that August 20th date, which is just 1 month from today. And so we're going to be able to get students in. They're going to sign up for their own schedule. So I know a lot of parents have been reaching out asking, okay, how do I find out what my day is? We're not going to assign it to you. So your son or daughter is going to be able to log into their MyNU page, and they're going to be able to sign up for whatever time works for you and your family and your schedule. So it's going to be pretty open. We're going to have time slots running morning until evening, pretty much every day during that 2-week period leading up. So we can talk more about that if folks have specific questions, but that's our plan for move-in day, to help that be a little bit less less of a crowd, less density in the halls, and making sure that everything from the moment students step on campus this year is safe for them. So thank you.
Well, thank you. That was great information. I'm sure that especially the move-in is really one of the really big questions. So thank you for handling that for us. And I know that there will probably be some questions in the chat room. And that's just a reminder that if you do have some questions, feel free to start typing them in so we can get to them later on. Next up is one of my favorite offices, only because I bug them probably the most, is our Office of Campus Safety and Security. And so tonight we'll hear from their director, John Barker. Take it away, John.
Thank you, Chris. More importantly, you don't really bug us. We enjoy talking to you every time you call. But I'd like to welcome the families and the students of the incoming freshman class of 2020 and the transfer students of 2020. As you embark upon your year at Niagara University, I'm embarking upon my 18th year as a campus safety director here and my 39th year in campus law enforcement. I enjoy working at Niagara University because we have the luxury of being able to get to know the students, work with the students. Our department is very fortunate in that we get to work from an assistance standpoint, frame of mind. We don't have to be the enforcement, the cop, the hey, you were a bad guy kind of a position. Our office is located in the, I call it the Little Tan House, which is across from the hockey rink when you come to campus. It's important to know that we're here 24 hours a day for you, 7 days a week. We have a dispatcher monitoring telephone calls and dispatching officers along the way. I will give you our department phone number because from today, tomorrow, or throughout your time with Niagara, if you need us anytime, you don't know what to do, we're here to assist you and try to make connections with you. So our phone number is 716-286-8111. And please feel free, if you have a question or anything, you need some assistance or guidance, just give us a call anytime. As I said, our department is here 24/7, and we really enjoy helping the students. Our primary goal is to provide care and concern for the students to make sure that their experience here is the best that it can possibly be. As you can well imagine, and maybe even more so than you could possibly imagine, we're pretty active and engaged in preparing the campus so that we are ready in these COVID situations and conditions to welcome you to a safe and healthy campus environment. If you need anything when you get to campus, any information, I'm sure you'll be able to find it from us, whether it's different signage in the campus buildings or residence halls, or seeing our staff along, we'll be able to help you with that. A little word on parking. Many people often ask me about parking on campus. Can freshmen have cars on campus? The answer to that is yes. We will be opening starting next Monday, the 27th. We will open our online car registration through our portal at the niagara.edu/parking website. So if you go to the website niagara.edu/parking, you will see a link to vehicle registration. It's a simple online form. You can fill out the information and we'll be able to reply to you and tell you when and where your permit will be available and how you can go about picking it up. So that's a new thing this year that we're doing for the students, and we're really looking forward to being able to get that going and to see all of you when you come to campus in a few weeks. Thank you.
There we go. Welcome back again. Before I get to our next panelist, I'm just going to ask that, keep those questions coming in. I've seen some coming in, so keep that moving. Another extremely busy office here on campus is our Office of Campus Activities. Here to discuss their areas are Maddie Ortiz, our director, and Bill Newton, our assistant director. They keep busy and active, our students very active here on campus, so take it away, Maddie.
Hello, families, and welcome, students. We're so excited to be able to speak to you this evening, and we can't wait to see you on campus very, very soon, as Kim said, in about a month. So in our office, we work with student clubs and organizations, student leadership opportunities like student government, our campus programming board. We also help coordinate and work cooperatively with many offices with regard to the summer orientation program, our fall orientation, and different programs that we host throughout the entire school year. It's very important for us to really get the message out to students that you should be involved in clubs and organizations. And there's many, many reasons for that case, but certainly to start networking with peers and get to know other people on campus. Also, because in certain instances, that'll be networking that you'll start to have for what your careers are going to be for. And different clubs will host speakers on campus having to do with a major or so on. One of the important things that we like to say is try to get involved into 2 organizations when you first get on campus. One should be an academic organization that's tied to your major, and just about every major has one. And then another opportunity that you should look into is something that's on the social side, whether it is a club or organization with, different, a club or organization that does different things on campus that is more on the social side. But then also there's many leadership opportunities, as I was mentioning as well. And that is our student government is a great way for you to get involved and start some leadership, honing your leadership skills or gaining more leadership skills. And then there's also another opportunity, and that is the campus programming board. And that's our group of students that works very closely with Bill Newton, the assistant director, who I'm going to toss it over to right now so he can share some information regarding that.
All right, thanks, Maddie. Hi families, hi students. Welcome to NU. I guess I just wanted to take a minute and talk about our campus program board and some of the great opportunities you have to get involved as a student. So the great thing about the campus programming board is traditionally they hold about 30 to 40 events per semester. So whether that's on maybe trips or just on-campus events that you don't have to necessarily be a member of the campus program board to attend. So whether that's, you'll find out about these events, whether that's through email, just word of mouth on campus once you get here, just social media, NU campus activities on Instagram, follow us, just certain things like that. And the campus is small enough where you'll find out what events we have coming up. Now, also the great thing about the campus programming board, certainly even this past March, when all of this COVID began to hit and things started happening, was we were able to still stay very engaged with our student body and offer events online. And you might think, how many people really attend those? What are those all about? Are they corny? Are they silly? So really from the end of March to the beginning of May, we were able to offer almost 25 programs. So they varied from trivia nights, where we're giving away $200 in gift cards every night for the winner, to actually Kim did a couple virtual yoga sessions for us, if you're into that, which is really great. We had acoustic musicians, other game shows where we're giving away prizes and money. So just lots of opportunities to stay connected. So, you tell your friends to log in and you're able to get in this sort of platform and not only participate in whatever the activity is, but also chat with your friends and maybe connect with people that, you haven't seen in a while. So certainly this semester, we're going to offer a combination of in-person events that we can, within to keep your students safe and within all the guidelines that we're being given. And also offer some virtual programs again. So, you can look for that schedule as we get closer to orientation, as that begins. So you can, post it in your room, post it on your computer, put events in your calendar, that sort of thing. But there are definitely, there's always something to do on campus, and you can look forward to that in the fall.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Lots of Our last panelists are Mike Jeswell, Director of the Center for Conferences and Events, and Andrew Shanner, our General Manager for Met's Culinary, which is our food services on campus. I vouch for that. So I'm going to give it to them to move forward.
Okay, thanks, Christine. Hi, everyone. I'm Mike Jeswell. Like she said, I am the Director of Events on campus. I have been employed at Niagara going on my 16th year. I not only run the events through the president's office, but I'm also the university liaison with our food service provider, Met's Culinary. What really impresses me as I'm listening to everybody speak tonight is how good the communication is within the university. And as Andrew and I have been working very hard trying to make it as safe and good service environment for food service, because we understand the importance of that. Like Adrian, I have a son in college and I understand the importance of food service, and we are working very hard to make sure that your students are safe and giving them the options that they expect when they come to campus. It is definitely going to look different, but some things that we can share with you, we are still finalizing our plan. But one thing we do know is that the number of people that can sit in the dining hall is going to be limited. We are definitely setting up the seats or the tables 6 feet apart. We're also looking at, as students are entering the building, to make sure that they are practicing the social distancing. What we're looking at is probably we're going to be setting up a portal where the students are going to be able to select the time slot when they're going to eat. And what this is going to do is help out on the lines, and then also allow the students who are coming into the dining hall to have that opportunity to go through the lines. Now, with that being said, Andrew Shaner, who will explain to you a little bit more, is willing to allow students to take food out. So if your son or daughter prefers not to eat in the dining room, we are always going to have takeout availability for them. And we will provide them with takeout containers so that way they can go through the line, select their food, and then be able to come back, the next time and pick up another to-go container if that's what they decide. We do know that, right now we are following the state guidelines on what we are allowed to do, but we also understand that things can change. My thought is that we're going to have a plan in place. We're going to utilize it for the first couple weeks, see how the flow is, and then if we need to make adjustments, we're going to do that in order to allow your students, to provide them with the best experience that they can. But like I said, the number one goal for us is the safety and the health of your children. And we're doing everything we can to make sure that happens. So with that, I want to introduce to you Andrew Shaner. Andrew and I have been working together for many years. And what I've always been very impressed with Met's Culinary is that they don't look at us as their client, but they look at us as a partner. Just look at Met's Culinary as an extension of Niagara University. They understand what our goals are. They understand our mission. And I couldn't be more pleased to be partnering with Mets, and I'm sure you will feel the same way once you get here in the fall. So we look forward to seeing all you here in the fall. And again, any questions, please feel free to send them our way. So I will hand it over to Andrew now.
Hi, everyone. As they said, I'm Andrew Shaner. I'm the general manager with Mets Culinary Management. We've been here, this is actually our 6th year we'll be starting, and obviously it's a different year than we've seen before. We're really excited to dive into it because I think we have some good plans. One thing that I did want to start sharing with you is our safety guarantee. And really what this talks about is, and this is going to be everywhere in the dining commons, in retail, but to start talking about it, what you can expect from us is that we have healthy team members. We're going to be doing daily temperature checks before they even clock in the morning. And if they're 100.4 or above, they'll be excused from work, put on quarantine, and then we also have a COVID program for that. Clean areas, disinfecting. Throughout this, we've learned about it's hard, just like when you go to a grocery store, finding chemicals. So in partnerships with our partners, we've brought up new chemicals that we're using, like peroxide cleaners that are proven against COVID. Social distancing, already right now, we've already separated the tables by 6 feet in the dining hall, as Mike Jeswell talked about. So that's where you're seeing now limited people that can sit in the dining hall at a time. Protective equipment, our team members will have masks. There'll be shields up blocking them. And then also slowly letting people into the dining hall during meal periods to allow for that. And then obviously frequent hand washing and hand sanitizer throughout the area. What we expect from you is planning ahead so that when your student comes in the dining hall or retail, we have our menus online, which I'll show shortly, but planning before that so that we can get people in and out with as little time as possible. Don't congregate with each other, giving space, and talking about wearing a mask when you're not at a table, just like at a restaurant. And then my next one I wanted to show is talking about really our menu. So this is Nutritics. And this is a new program that we're rolling out. We actually started it last year a little bit now, but now we're rolling it out this year also. And this is just an example menu that we have on Monday. What's really cool about this is that this top button right here, Dietary Requirements. And with that, say your child is vegetarian. Okay, we're gonna choose vegetarian and we're gonna type okay. Now what happens is it's gonna limit those options in that dining hall of what your child can get that is proven vegetarian. On top of that, you can look at the allergens. You can limit calories if you're looking at that. You can limit fats, proteins, carb. It is really an amazing system to give these children, these students, I'm sorry, not children, all these available information right at their fingertips. How they access this is either by a website like I'm in right now, or they can use the QR code on their phones and simply bring up the menu when they enter a dining hall and look at it. Again, they can prepare ahead. We have a week-and-a-half menu up at a time where students can look at it and choose what they want to eat. And that's all I have.
Perfect. Thank you very
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm getting hungry as we're sitting here and stuff. So I can't wait to try to get back in. I'll reserve a time. So there we go. Now the next part of the program, we'll have Morgan Miller, our admissions advisor, and Francesca Borland, who's been working feverishly behind the scenes, accumulating your questions. And Morgan and Francesca are going to move those questions forward. And then and we'll take about 15 minutes or 20 minutes or so to answer those that are in there, and then we'll come back to me for the conclusion of the program. So take it away, Morgan and Francesca.
Awesome. Hi, guys. Thank you very much for joining us today. So I've been trying to keep up with the questions. I know some of them have already been answered, but I'm going to go through the ones that are answered. I'm just going to say the answers out loud in case some of you guys aren't checking the chat boxes and you have those same questions. So one of them was regarding a PO box and if you can sign up for it online or wait until you get there. So the students are able to get a PO box and you can sign up at the UPS site. We have a full mail carrier on campus, a whole thing where the students can go, they can send mail, mail can be sent to them. The costs for those PO boxes are on the website, or you can sign up for the PO box when you get here. There's a flyer with the PO box information on your MyNU account. And a second question, if you get a student loan, is there, or I'm sorry, that was another one that we're going to go back to. And there is an extra cost for the PO box, but that's something that the students will sometimes share with their roommates. And then they do have a full service office to get your packages in time. So you do have a roommate and you guys want to share, that is an option, but you don't have to. You can get your own if you'd like. Another question, are we still able to sign in visitors to the dorm? So this fall, unfortunately, we will not be allowing non-NU guests into the halls. We just want to ensure the safety of all of the halls and of our students. So we'll be monitoring the students' temperatures, the symptoms, etc. So once you guys move in, we won't be opening it up for our guests who we can't monitor for their symptoms. Right, moving to another question is, how can parents visit students this fall? Is it possible? So what we are suggesting is that once the semester gets going, you can meet your family at the car in one of our many parking lots, and then you can go out and get dinner, go do something within the area. That is something that we do encourage you guys to do. Unfortunately, we won't be able to have large gatherings on our campus. That segues into our next question of if there will be a parent or family weekend in the fall. And unfortunately, we'll be unable to host a family weekend this fall, but we are looking into other opportunities for families to visit. All right, going into another COVID question, are students from high-risk states going to be quarantined? So yes, they are going to be quarantined. We're going to be constantly monitoring the status of those various states. If there is a student already coming from another state that is a high-risk state, they are moving in earlier and they are quarantining for 2 weeks in a hotel that we are providing for them. So then by the time August 20th rolls around, they will be all set to go and they will have quarantined for 2 weeks. Students would be able to complete that full 14-day quarantine prior to classes beginning. Then if states are added after August 11th, we will work with the students individually from those states to plan for a completion of a 14-day quarantine. And then they'll be able to complete online coursework just so they can stay up to date. Going into another question is, that was already answered, are commuter meal plans available and how will we select that? So yes, we do have commuter meal plans. There are 2 to choose from depending on how many times you would like to eat on campus. We will be limiting the amount of people in and out of our dining halls. There are other options on campus if you don't get our buffet style dining that you can purchase within our Gallagher Center. If you, many times students have money preloaded onto their student ID card, or you can just use cash or card at those areas as well if you wanted to get something to eat. And then now I'm gonna sort of hand off some questions to some of our folks who were a part of our panel. So although the food question was somewhat answered, Andrew, and Mike, I want to go back to you guys. Some of the questions are, when does the food plan start for the dining hall to open? And for those who have early move-in days, will they have access to the dining halls? And then another question is, how will we go about the time slots if somebody is like hungry and they want to just go in to eat? Will they be able to just go into the dining halls to eat, or will they have to wait only for their time slots? And then what happens if they oversleep or something and miss their time slot? How can we sort of adjust that?
Right. No, thanks, Morgan. To answer the first question, yes, they can certainly go in as often as they want. If somebody comes in and says, well, I had a meeting with a professor and I missed my time slot, we are definitely not going to turn them away. If they've already eaten, the option will be always to have a takeout. So they'll be able to take out as often as they want. Somebody did ask, I saw a question on here too, about the quarantine, the early arrivals. We do plan on providing some sort of food service for the students who are arriving early due to quarantine. I believe, Andrew, our meal plan starts on August 20th, correct?
That's correct. Yep. For move-in day.
Yeah. Was that all the questions, Morgan, or was there another one?
Yeah, and then just like really just to find, there's another one that just came in, is how would a student figure out what meal plan he or she has?
Sure, they can see that on MyNU. It's under there. And then also within the first 2 weeks, I saw earlier someone talking about it, you're automatically assigned the unlimited plan, but during that first 2 weeks is when you can switch your plan to, say, the purple plan instead, which gives 12 swipes. And you can do that on MyNU also.
The other thing, Morgan, that I want to mention, that we are probably not going to have required time slots for the weekends, because we understand students are sleeping in, we're doing other things, and we want to give the students that flexibility on the weekends to go in to eat when they want to. I did post something as well on the chat that we are also going to put up a couple tents outside of Clay Dining to help with the overflow. So that way, if there are no more seats in the dining hall, the students will certainly be able to go into the tents and use those as well. The unlimited also includes late night, correct, Andrew?
All of it includes any time that you want to enter. The great part about unlimited is there's a lot of students that you just want a cup of coffee between your classes. With the unlimited plan, you have that flexibility to be able to enter the dining hall, grab a cup of coffee, and run to your next class. And that's still going to be available during these COVID times, obviously.
Right.
Or same thing with even a piece of fruit, things like that. If you just want a quick snack, that's all included in the unlimited plan. I did see one question about what comes with a single swipe. So it's basically an enclosed dining hall where we have many stations, and before it was kind of serve yourself, but now it's going to all be served food. What comes with that one swipe is as much food as you care to eat during that time period. So when you come in, you can grab your food, and then as there's room in line now with COVID, you can jump back up and get more food. And if you walk through and we're serving hamburgers that day, you can get 2 hamburgers if you'd like, and then go sit down if you're feeling hungry. So there is as much as your student's going to need for that. I know the one popular saying we like to say is the last thing I want your students or parents to have to worry about is food service. That's my job. I want to worry about that. And I want to make sure that they have everything they need during this time for that.
And Andrew, can you explain briefly too about your plans for dietary restrictions to make sure that we are covering that as well?
Yeah, so I mean, as you saw with Nutritics, we have menu items that are already through lots of allergens and religious restrictions also. Whether it's halal, we will cater to everyone. I can say that. I mean, I've had people even come to me that are allergic to certain dyes, and I will figure something out for your student to make sure that they can eat in the dining hall and cater to them. So anything that your student needs, we have a submission form on our website at metsniagara.com, or please just urge them to contact any of us in the dining commons, retail, and we will definitely get them on a sit down with myself, the chef, to help work them through and explain where they can go in our dining commons to make sure that their allergen needs are met.
Great, thank you so much. We do have just one other question is, if they don't use all of their money for their meal plan, can the money go towards other fees?
So are we talking about like Gallagher Gold money?
I would assume so, yes, because that's really the extra money that's added onto their card.
Sure. So Gallagher Gold money can't be used for anything else but food on campus. And the reason for that is it's non-tax money. So kind of, so that is with that, sorry, I was just seeing Jade saying too, she's allergic to 12 foods. Please contact us. We'd love to work with you and walk through it. But with the Gallagher Gold, it is non-tax money, so that can only be used on campus and on campus food.
Great, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
All right, we are going to move into, first I'm just gonna answer 2 more additional questions that were asked and answered in the chat, and then we're gonna move into sort of giving the spotlight back to Kim so she can go over a lot more details in depth, because you guys have a lot of questions about move-in day, about roommates, about time slots and everything like that. But first, a question that was asked is, will students be allowed in other students' halls that are not theirs? Yes, they will be. So although we won't be having outside visitors on our campus, you guys can still visit each other in your other halls. Another question would be, can they come home for the weekend? Yes, you guys as students are able to go home for the weekend, but we do ask the students to report all of their travel as part of their daily screenings that we are going to be having. We just want to make sure that we are keeping up with everything on our end to keep the rest of the students as safe as possible. And just a reminder that there won't be any breaks until Thanksgiving with our new academic calendar. Kim, I am going to give you the spotlight now to just sort of go over everything pertaining to move-in day and how the time slots and everything work, just in case some people missed it when you first spoke, because there are a lot of questions regarding that.
Sure, absolutely. So before I forget, I got one other really good question, which was, do we have twin beds or twin extra long beds? So just want to let you know officially on the record, we have regular standard twin beds. So you don't need to go buy special sheets to move into campus, which I think is a nice perk. You get to use the same sheets you already have. So that's a good thing. So when you're shopping, twin standard sheets, not the extra long. So thanks for Mackenzie for the question. Let's see, so I put in the portal as well. The link to the portal, if you scroll up, is there as well. And we use our self-service Adirondack housing portal for everything that you need to know for room assignments. So if you log in, there's the link up there. You're gonna log in, your username is your S09 number, and your password is gonna be the same password you use for everything else. So if you were like, wait, what building am I in again? Or if you're looking for your roommate's contact information, you can always go right through there. And in the email that you received, transfers got their email this afternoon, by the way. Freshmen got theirs on Thursday. And so in the email that you received, if you were looking for a different room, you can also fill out the room change request, or the room change request form. We put the link to that right in the email for you. So going back up to move-in day. So looks like there's a bunch of different questions. I'm trying to scroll here through and just kind of catch the highlights and everything back again. So we are going to ask that you have one person with you at a time. And again, the reason is because, you know, we don't want to have crowds of people in the halls. That's really what it comes down to, is just to make sure that you're safe when you come here, that you're not running into big crowds of other people and everything as well. So, but I mean, there's a lot of strategy, because we know that, you know, sometimes you have both parents want to see it, you know, maybe there's a sibling or something that want to see the room too. So it's one person at a time. And so if you want to come up, and then the second trip, maybe you bring someone else up, all those other things as well. There's always ways that we can strategize this. In terms of the visitors, so you can go between halls. I think we covered that as well. Let's see, I think we got a lot of them. If you haven't gotten your room information yet, I'm just scrolling through here. Again, if you log into that portal, or check both of your email accounts just to see your NU account and your personal account, just to see if you've got anything in there. I know a lot of the questions had to do with quarantine specifically, so I think I'll let Jason Jakubowski, our Dean of Students, and Chris Sheffield, our Vice President, talk to some of those more specifically about move-in. So the time slot, so it's going to be an hour time slot that you can sign up for. And of course, we're going to be flexible. If it's, you know, 59 minutes and you have one more trip to the car, absolutely. You know, we're not going to be really strict with you, because we know this is a really big day for you and for your family and for your students. So we're not going to be, you know, giving you any trouble on those days, but you know, we are just trying to schedule things out. We did pretty much the same operation at Move Out. So our students were actually away on spring break when we got all the news about COVID in the spring. So they were home for a couple of months before, you know, we had them, before it was safe for us to do Move Out. And the Move Out process, we did the exact same thing. Students signed up for a time to come get their stuff, and it ran like a well-oiled machine. You know, students were able to come. You didn't really have to see anybody and interact with any other people. You just were able to go up to your room and take care of what you needed to do. So that's the highlight of that process. I think it's gonna move really smoothly too. And when we go the other way, we move in. So I'm really looking forward to that process as well. There's going to be some differences in terms of the dates for each building, some little nuances. And then in O'Shea Hall, we're going to do a slightly different process for O'Shea, because one of the benefits for you, if you're going to be living in O'Shea, is that we are doing a full renovation project in our showers this summer. So for students who are moving into O'Shea in the fall, you're going to have all new showers. But then one of the trade-offs of that is that O'Shea is going to open just a little bit later. And so we're going to have a slightly different process for O'Shea, but we're still anticipating that if you want to come up on August 7th to drop off your stuff, we're still going to have a way to do that for you. We're just going to have a storage location, and then we're going to have some movers to get your stuff to your room. So we'll take care of all those kinds of things as well. Let's see, I'm just trying to catch up. So if the roommate and parent are not there on move-in day, they have two other people move with them? Yeah, so if it's, it doesn't matter who is there, the student's gonna be the one who needs to come and pick up his key though, or her key. And so if that's a friend that comes with them that day, if that's just who's available to, you know, drive them up to campus and help lug boxes, that's totally fine too. It doesn't need to be a parent, it can be anyone. If they wanna come by themselves, you know, if maybe they don't have too much stuff, they can do that as well. There was one other question I want to just get to as well that I saw. I guess other schools are limiting how much stuff you can bring. So we're not doing that. And the reason why we're not doing that is because we're starting so early for move-in day. And we're doing that because we don't want to have lines at the elevators. So it seems like other schools are just limiting you to a couple of suitcases so that you don't have lines. We're just letting you start a little bit earlier so that you can come and you can bring your fridge, you can bring your TV, whatever it is that's going to make you comfortable.
Did you have fun?
And I'll kick this back to Morgan, if there's other questions that you wanted me to answer, or
yep,
what do you need?
A few more. So another question that we had was, are masks going to be required in the dorm rooms? I think that might be a question for masks required even on campus as a whole, or maybe if you want to just specify like anytime you leave your dorm room. You want to talk about that, Kim? And then another question is if there's a printer. So I'll answer that quickly. We do have printers and the students are able to use them. You can bring your own if you would like, if you'd like to keep it in your room, but we do have them in the halls and also in the library. But Kim, another question for you is, will the residence hall kitchens be available for students to cook, those little kitchenette areas?
Mm-hmm. So the kitchenettes are not open during the regular school year just because they're small. We can only have so many people and we're trying to cut down on fire alarms. So those kitchens that we have in the residence halls only open during break periods if a student has to stay when the dining hall is not open. Masks were another question that you brought up. So I can speak in terms of residence life. We are going to be asking students to wear masks anytime they're not in their rooms. So if they go to the lounge, if they're in the restroom, of course not if they're going to be washing their face, brushing their teeth, taking a shower. But other times when students are out and about, we hope that that they will wear face coverings when they're out, just around the rest of the buildings and everything. There is a microwave available on the floor that they can use. You're going to get your student ID when you come to move in for new student orientation. And in terms of carts, one last question I saw pop up. We do have moving carts, but unfortunately they're made of wood, and so we can't really properly sanitize that in between every person. So we will not be renting out those carts, unfortunately. But when I send a link about our move-in day to all the students, I'm going to put in a link. There's a really inexpensive, it's $21 at Lowe's. It's the same carts that we have. A lot of students just decided to buy their own, and it's easier for them. So I'll put the link in that email too that I send out to all students.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. We are going to now move over to Chris and Jason. We have a ton of questions flowing through. I know, Chris, you've answered a lot of them, but if you could please go over a higher level overview and sort of just re-answer some of your questions about students being quarantined before classes start, what will happen when students, if a student is in contact with somebody who has COVID or who was confirmed with it, what the protocols are for that. And then also if your student is quarantined, we had a question is, will your son or daughter be able to interact at all with other quarantined students at the hotel during their time?
Yeah, Morgan, happy to answer some of those questions. We're actually using quarantine for two different purposes. One is the quarantine for any students needing to arrive early from affected travel advisory states. And so for purposes of that quarantine period with the August 5th arrival, we're working with the hotel to define details around what that will look like, arrival logistics and timing, as well as what that experience will be. Certainly, we're looking to find ways that we can have students interacting safely, give them opportunity, to get some fresh air outside, right? Ways to keep people appropriately separated from one another, and certainly from other guests in the hotel, although we expect other guests to be very limited at that point in time. And so we're working on those details, and we'll be able to provide those in advance. And so you'll get some follow-up information that really speaks to these specific around quarantine. The other thing that we're looking at is for family members coming in with their students from affected travel advisory states, for purposes of a simple drop-off and turning around and returning home, you may not have to abide then by the quarantine requirement yourself. And so that's something that is a reasonable interpretation of the guidance. The difference would be, and this question came up in the chat, if there are families who would be interested in returning once the quarantine period is over to move their student from quarantine back to campus, given the length of time that you'd then be in the area and on the campus, the guidance wouldn't permit that. And so we'll be providing opportunity for students to store belongings either at the hotel site, or we'll transport them from the hotel to the campus. And we'll certainly be assisting your students with kind of the move from quarantine to our campus. So that's as seamless as possible. And we know it's going to be difficult because you'd be excited to see your sons and daughters move in to their campus room as a freshman, but it is one of the unfortunate challenges that we're dealing with now in the face of some of the limitations. And so we'll try to manage that the best that we can to make it as smooth a transition as possible. The second way that we're using the hotel would be for quarantine on an ongoing basis if a student were to be symptomatic and awaiting test results, or a positive tested case for COVID. And so Adrian, I believe, is still on. Maybe Adrian, you could speak to the plans and protocol around testing and the implications of positive test results.
Thanks, Chris. Yes. So we do have the quarantine and isolation. We will be screening people every day through. They're going to log on to a website and answer some questions that we're required to have them answer. If people answer yes to those questions, which means that they might have been in contact with someone who had COVID, and we identify that they need a test, they will be moved to the quarantine hotel. If the person tests positive, they would be also at that hotel, and that would be considered isolation. Isolation would be for a minimum of 10 days or 3 days post a fever. Now, those people will be medically monitored every single day, 7 days a week, by nurses or nurse practitioners. So that's the difference between the isolation and the quarantine. If students call our health center and they feel like they're sick and need to be further worked up for COVID, that will happen. We can refer people to where they need to be, and then they would be moved to quarantine the 14 days as required by the governor. So that's the difference between the isolation and the quarantine.
Great, thank you. Adrian, I did have two more questions that I know you answered one of them that I would just like you to answer out loud, and just again, in case somebody isn't looking at the chat, about health insurance. If somebody is covered under a work plan, what is the health insurance policy at our school, if you have the answer to that? And then another question is, there a parent there? I know that there isn't a parent MyNU account, but is there an option for the parent to access the financial and FERPA approved information? I don't know if you'd know that, but there is somewhere for you to access that. But Adrian, if you could just speak on whatever you do know about those topics, that'd be great.
Sure. This year for freshmen, we're moving to requiring all students to be properly insured according to the Affordable Care Act. So students automatically have a health insurance premium put on their account, but they can easily waive out of that by following. We sent everyone home a letter, and if not, they can go through the health services area on the website, and there'll be a link for health insurance that will take you to our insurance broker, and you can answer the questions and upload your insurance, and they can and I can take the insurance premium off if you're properly insured and meet the requirements. The amount of money comes off every week. I get a list of people who have waived off, and I will take that off. So if you fill out the waiver on a Tuesday, and you're seeing that on your bill, it will come off every Monday. I will take the money off so that it shows that you don't owe for health insurance as long as you're properly insured. As far as the financials and FERPA, that would have to go to student accounts so that you can find their number on the website as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We did have a question come in many times as to why the students would be able to leave for the weekend. So for an example, we do have a lot of students that dorm with us that are close to the proximity of the campus. I was one of those. So sometimes the students do go home if they have a birthday or something that they need to celebrate, or if they want to go home and see their families. That's definitely something that they still will be able to do. Chris, I don't know if you want to touch any more on that, but we do have a lot of students in very close proximity. And then with us allowing students who have cars on campus as a freshman, they do have their ability to sort of move around a little bit. So they would be able to go home if needed.
Yep, that's right, Morgan. And I think the other thing I would add to that is we're certainly going to be encouraging all of our students, our resident students, to stay on campus during the weekends. And really, most importantly, to be avoiding any travel out of state, particularly to any of the travel advisory states, because certainly those students then on return would be affected by a 2-week quarantine period. And so there will be strict expectations and restrictions in that regard. But as Morgan said, many of our students are local. And right now, the Western New York and Central New York areas are at relatively low risk. And so we'll be monitoring that on an ongoing basis. And if circumstances change in the local or regional communities, then we'll be adjusting our guidance to students and expectations around their travel in and around the campus. But that's a really important question. And so it's something that we're tuned into and we'll be monitoring on an ongoing basis.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, Kim, we're coming back to you. A few questions. I'm sort of going through them as I'm speaking to you guys, so I'm sorry if you did already answer some of them. But if a student gets a double room but they're single, they don't have a roommate, is there still going to be a setup like a double, or will they just have like one bed, one dresser in there? And then another thing is, can you please just go over the dorming process and the roommate process? We've had a lot of questions that students haven't received anything about their roommates, or they haven't received anything about what hall they're going to be in. So if you could just go over that too as well, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So I'm making a list of everybody who reaches out. I've got your names here, and I tried to private message everybody just to let you know what's going on. But if you need it, just let me know. I'll type my email over here as well. So if you just want to send me an email too, we can get in touch with you and let you know. And then I'm just going back to the first question. So for singles and furniture. So if you are in Seton or O'Shea Hall, the room that you're in is technically, it's a double room. So you're going to have 2 sets of furniture in there. We're going to leave the extra set of furniture in the room. So if you're just lucky and you got 2 dressers now, you got 2 desks worth of space. That's just kind of a bonus. Some of our other buildings, though, that our first year students might be in, like we have a whole community of first year students in Clay Hall as well. Those are going to be actual single rooms. So it's going to be one set of furniture for each student in the room, if you are in there as a single. And then the other thing is that if you haven't gotten a room assignment yet, we still had a bunch of students who just, for whatever reason, we didn't get an application from them yet. So if you don't remember filling out that housing application, then when I put my email here, just send me a quick email after this so that I can get you the information so that you know how to fill out your housing application. The students who got the information or got their roommate and room assignments last week, those are only the ones that we had applications for. So we will continue to make those assignments for the rest of the summer as students come in and let us know. Sometimes students are kind of on the fence still, just deciding, and so we'll let you know as we get a little bit closer. And as anytime you need information, just please let us know, and then we'll be able to help you out right away individually.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Another question, Kim, I don't know if you can answer this, but do you know when, I know you guys help with students if they need something with their schedules, do you know when those are supposed to be solidified? Or I know that students, if you're listening, and parents, you will be getting a call or an email from your advisor, your academic advisor, to help sort of solidify and set up the rest of your classes. They are going through everyone individually, so please be patient. They will get to you. But Kim, do you have any other information on that at all?
I don't, but I think that maybe Chris or Maddie might know. Do you guys know Chris and Maddie? Okay.
Yep, and so actually we're expecting that there'll be a communication from the colleges by the end of this week with information on class schedules and certainly any resources for follow-up questions you may have for your faculty advisor so that you can work through that process. But we're expecting communication regarding schedules and courses by the end of the week.
Great. So if somebody wants to know who their advisor is there a way for them to look that up, Chris, or will they have to wait for the communication to come out?
Yep, so once the communication comes out, that'll have the detail they need on how to access the course schedules and who they can follow up with for questions they may have.
Great. One more question regarding scheduling and certain areas within academics. So if a student did receive their class schedule, how will they go about getting their books this year?
That I don't have an answer to. So
okay.
We'll take that one down, make sure that we get some information on that and be able to share it back out with the individual who asked or others who are part of this this session. Absolutely.
Great. Great.
Chris,
Thank you so
I might be able to help you out with that a little bit.
Great.
I'm working with the bookstore on things. They will have books available to be picked up here, or they can go online to the Barnes & Noble campus store site and arrange to have the book shipped to them at their homes in advance. So they can have two different options of picking them up on campus or having them shipped to their home.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Our next set of questions are going to go over to Bill and Maddie. If you guys, I know you guys did already sort of answer them, but if you guys could please just go over our clubs, our intramurals, if our fitness room will still be open, if you guys can just sort of touch on that for anyone else who has some questions on that, that would be great.
Sure. So yes, we do anticipate all clubs will be working or operating this semester. So there will be different rules by which to follow. There will be some limitations with regards to what spaces will be available, and certainly due to all the social distancing protocols and wearing masks, clubs and organizations can meet in small groups. We will be encouraging virtual meetings as much as possible. And then with regards to intramurals and club sports and the fitness center, those actually are managed by our director of our Kiernan Center, Derek Puff, which I did put his name and his email in the link. But certainly with the governor's rules ever changing, at this present time, fitness centers cannot be open. With regard to, the intramurals and sports, between now and then, some things may change, but at this time, I do not believe they will be fully operational. But as I did say that Derek Puff, dpuff@niagara.edu, I did put that in the chat. would certainly be someone I can reach out to answer some of those questions. Did I cover it all?
Yes,
Chris,
perfect.
do you have anything to add to that, Chris? Are we good?
I don't think that was excellent. Thanks.
Okay.
Awesome. So, Chris, I do just want to sort of backtrack a little bit to wearing masks and everything like that. I know that there's been a ton of information sent out regarding that, but if you could just do a higher level overview of if and when students have to wear masks, our new sort of cleaning policies that we have, and sort of how our layout of our classrooms would look, that would be very helpful.
Sure, Morgan, happy to. So one of the important principles in all of our planning, as I mentioned, is safety. And so the university is actually taking an approach that exceeds state requirements regarding distancing and masks. The state requirements are 6 feet or masks. We are enforcing 6 feet and masks. And so you can expect in the classrooms that the classrooms will be set up and furniture rearranged or removed in some cases to keep the density down in those spaces and maintain 6 feet of separation. Similarly, you'll see markings in various spaces all over campus that delineate the 6 feet of separation in lines or other places where people may be gathering. And in any of the public spaces on our campus, we're expecting people to have masks on in addition to the 6 feet of separation, really just to optimize the health and safety of individuals and our community. Within the residence halls, however, in private student rooms, you certainly wouldn't be required to wear a mask, but we will be asking that when you leave your room, within corridors and within restrooms, when you're not using a sink or using the shower, that you are in a mask in those experiences, so we can certainly be as safe as possible for ourselves and others in the community. And so that would be the expectation.
Awesome. One person did just ask, are you able to wear a face shield, one of those ones that you can put on instead of a mask? Do they have to have both if they have a face shield?
Yep, so actually I'll let Adrian confirm, but I believe we are allowing face shields for those who may have a concern or an issue wearing a mask. Right, Adrian?
Right. If you do have a medical condition that requires you to wear a face shield instead, face shields do not provide yourself the same level of protection as a mask, but if for those people who have medical reasons where they can't have a mask, I'm thinking asthma, things like that, we do have face shields available. I also want to tell everybody that every student, we're encouraging you to bring your own mask so they stay clean, but we will be giving every student 2 masks as well as a 4-ounce hand sanitizer that can be refilled. You will see large refilling stations around the campus at 10 different sites where when your hand sanitizer runs low, you can go and fill it out. I also just want to put one more thing out there. It's everybody's responsibility to keep the campus healthy. We're all in the same community at NU. We all have to do our part to maintain the health and safety of others and be respectful of everyone so that we can make it all the way to the end of the semester and everyone can be healthy and safe. For students and faculty and staff, we're all the same and we all need to do our part.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And just to sort of give another little plug, so with those masks, you can wash them. And somebody asked if the laundry facilities were going to be open for students. Yes, they will be. We just asked students to wipe down the machines before and after use, just to sort of keep things clean and make sure that you're protecting yourself as well as protecting others. I know that there will be a lot of different questions that you guys will have also moving forward. We can all put our contact information in the chat so you guys are able to reach out to us if you want to reach out to, for example, myself for an admissions question, or if you want to reach out to somebody in campus activities, please feel free to do so. And as a reminder, this session is recorded, so you can come back and sort of rewatch it. This has been really informative. If you guys have some more questions, you can still sort of filtrate them through, but I'm going to pass it back off to Chris so she can sort of close our program here. But just another reminder, we are all here to help you guys. We all want you guys back on campus so bad. It's not the same without our students. And like Adrian said, as long as we can all work together as a community and keep everybody healthy and make sure we all do our part, then we should have no problem getting through the end of the semester.
Thank you, Morgan, and thank everyone who has contributed to this evening. It's been a wonderful, wonderful experience for people to find out bits and pieces. Know that the Office of Admissions and every office that you heard from today will be happy to answer questions. You can filtrate them through the admissions office if you want to, or write to the contacts that are put in the chat room. But now, as we end tonight's session, on behalf of the university community, thank you, excuse me, thank you for attending this evening's event. Hoping all of our panelists helped you, give you information that made you feel more comfortable and confident about how well NU is preparing for your entrance to campus in the next month. So thank you once again for coming. Have a good evening. And at this point, we'll be signing out from the Ridge. Take care. Have a great evening.